Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Red Apple Media Podcast Network presents This is Protecting America. Now, here's Emmy-winning journalist Rita Cosby.
Welcome to another edition of Protecting America. I'm Rita Cosby. President Trump is telling anti-regime protesters in Iran to keep protesting and that help is on the way. So what should President Trump do to help the Iranian citizens in their very courageous fight for freedom? Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Alireza Jafarzadeh. He is the Deputy Director of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, U.S. Representative Office. Alireza, it's great to have you here.
Great to be on your show, Rita. How
important is a free Iran for obviously the people there, but also for the United States and for the world?
Well, it will be changing everything that you have seen in the past decades. Think about the Iran regime, what role they play. They're the epicenter of war and terror. They're the main hub for terrorism, not just in the region, everywhere else around the world. They had built this, the world of Islamic extremism, creating proxies all over the region. They even tried to reach out to Venezuela in the Western Hemisphere. They've built developing nuclear weapons, which has been very, very costly to the Iranian people. Their nuclear weapons program has cost until now $2 trillion. That's how important it was for the Iran regime. They have a very advanced, sophisticated missile program, which is intended to project the influence of the Iran regime and keep him in power. They have the drone program. All of these activities of the Iran regime had cost them a lot. And then add to all of that the repression that they had created inside Iran for the past 4 or 5 decades, putting intellectuals in jail, killing people, the corruption that is meant to galvanize and direct all the resources of the country to the mullahs. So when there is a change in Iran and you have a free, democratic, non-nuclear, non-aggressive republic Iran, that would not only impact some 90 million population in Iran, but it will change everything in the region and by extension globally. So a free Iran is not just a mere good thing. It's an absolute necessity if we want to see an end to terrorism and see peace and tranquility in the region.
How important, especially also, as you brought up, for U.S. security, too. I mean, it really isn't a unilateral thing.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. Since day one, when the mullahs came to power, they took over the U.S. embassy, taking 52 Americans hostage for 444 days. Then they targeted Americans in Lebanon and so many places around the world. They built very advanced, sophisticated roadside bombs known as EFPs that penetrate through armor and use them in Iraq, targeting American forces there, but also, playing games and trying to gain concessions from the United States while advancing terrorism. So, and then they have their agents, their terrorists, not only targeting Americans and others in the region, destabilizing the region, but also targeting U.S. citizens here in the United States. So, in that sense, I mean, if you're thinking about the security, it would have a huge impact to see an end to the rule of the clerics, both for the United States, the countries in the Western world and also in the region.
There also were Iranian plots to go after President Trump.
Absolutely. They have a long list of, what the regime has created, a list of their targets, designated people from President Trump to former Secretary of State. They had a long list of them, and they continue to threaten that. And that's why I think it's so important for people to understand when we're talking about free Iran, it's not just the freedom for the people there. It has a huge impact regionally, globally, and also for the United States.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Carvana's so easy. Just a click, and we've got ourselves a car. See?
So many cars. That's a click-tastic inventory.
And check out the financing options. Payments to fit our budget. I mean, that's
Clickonomics 101.
delivery to our door.
Just a hop, skip, and a click away.
And what?
No better feeling than when everything just clicks. Buy your car today on Carvana. Delivery fees may apply.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
Let's talk about also what's going on in Iran now. How courageous are the people really who have been rising up in big numbers? What are you hearing? Is it really all over the country? Is it young and old? Who are these courageous people?
It's very difficult to describe the level of courage and sacrifice on one side on the part of the people, and the level of cruelty and savagery on the part of the Iranian regime. And the people of Iran were been really fed up with the system, with the regime. They have lost everything in terms of economy, their political freedoms. Nothing was working, from food and water and electricity. Iran is a very rich country. We have the second largest oil and gas reserves combined in the world, yet 80% of the population live below the poverty line, and all the money goes to the ruling clerics, the revolutionary guards, and the institutions run by them, or their proxies and their nuclear weapons program. People feel, okay, they need to stand up and determine their future. And this latest round of uprisings, even though it started, it was triggered by the deteriorating value of the Iranian currency, but it soon expanded to all the other sectors of Tehran and other cities. Over 200 cities in all 31 provinces of Iran were involved. But the engine really has been the younger generation. Most of them are very young people who were taking things into their hands, confronting the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, that keeps the regime in place, and showing defiance, would not back down when they were confronted by the Revolutionary Guards. They continued, day and night, and a lot of them are actually, the role that the organized resistance, which is headed by the main Iranian opposition movement known as the MEK, which they have the what they call resistance units. These are smaller groups of anywhere from 2 to 20 people all over the country in all 31 provinces, and their job has been to act as the engine to move forward the uprisings. They show the people that the mullahs, even though they're repressive, they have the Revolutionary Guards and everything, but they're not 10 feet tall. They're extremely vulnerable, targeting them and showing courage and keeping the focus on the main slogans of the protest, which was death to the dictator, death to Khamenei, which is the supreme leader of the regime, and death to the oppressor, be the Shah or the supreme leader, making it very clear that Iran is not going to go backwards to the dictatorship of the Shah, which the Iranian people once overthrew, and they're not going to settle with the current theocracy. It's all about freedom. It's all about political pluralism. So that's why this level of courage, the regime really tried to silence them, and they confronted them with shooting the protesters and of course arresting so many of them. The latest information we have that we were able to compile as of yesterday was that over 3,000 protesters have been killed in almost all 31 provinces of the country, and this number most probably is much, much higher than what we were able to confirm. But that hasn't been able to silence the protesters. And even today, we had clashes between the people in Tehran, in capital, in other cities from down south to the northeast, northwest, and Balochistan and other places. So the flames of the protest continue, even though the regime may be able to put down in some areas a temporary damp on things. But I can assure you that there's no way that they can extinguish the flames of a nation that has decided to end the rule of the clerics at whatever cost. This is the time for our people, and also this is a time for the whole world to side with the people of Iran and stand on their side.
There are also reports, Alireza, that many people have just gone missing. Maybe they're in prisons or who knows what. Have you heard that too as well?
Absolutely. We have a very powerful network inside Iran, and we have had many of our people's, network on the ground who we know that they were killed, but there were so many others that we don't know about their whereabouts. It could be because of lack of communications, but a lot of them that when you communicate back to the network, you realize that, they're missing. Who knows whether they're killed or they're arrested and jailed. The regime doesn't provide information about those that they arrest. They just announced a few days ago that anyone who has been involved in the protest or will be involved in the protest, they declare them as muharib, meaning waging war on God. That by the regime's own definition, that means they can kill them. Because the regime says we're representing God, and when you stand up against the regime, you're standing up against God, so we're going to kill you. So they're going to start a wave of killings and executions in Iran. But no matter what they do, and they have done these things in the past, of course, now it's a much larger scale. It clearly shows the level of desperation of the Iranian regime. And that they have no other solution except killings.
There are also reports that the regime elements are going to hospitals and saying, tell us who are some of the wounded protesters maybe that have been treated there, that they're trying to put pressure even on hospital staff. Are you hearing that?
Yes, absolutely. They even have people at the entrance of the hospitals to identify who are the people who are going in that were injured during the protest, or go and talk to the doctors, the nurses, pressure them. You have to tell us who are the people who came here for injuries, not regular injuries, but injuries that came as a result of the protest, and try to identify them. And I can say that really the heroic people of Iran, especially the personnel in the hospitals, none of them are cooperating. A lot of them were beaten badly, the nurses, the doctors, because they refuse to collaborate with the state security forces and Revolutionary Guards. but it also shows the level of desperation. This regime feels that they're on the way down, and they will resort to anything to stay in power, especially because they realize that it's not just the anger of the population. There is an organized force on the ground, those who have been fighting the regime for the past 4 decades, those who refuse to give up. Instead, they paid more attention, more efforts in organizing and creating hope for the others. Just in the summer of 1988, the Iranian regime massacred some 30,000 political prisoners. Majority of them belong to the main Iranian opposition, the MEK, which is the same group that also exposed the nuclear sites of Iran, hoping that by this massacre, which by the UN reports is described as crime against humanity and genocide, thinking, okay, this will put an end to all of the opposition. It didn't. Right now, when you see these young people in the streets, these are, the children, the siblings, the grandchildren, the family members, the friends of all of those people that the regime killed in the 80s. And so actually those killings has now turned into, an anger of a population, but it turned into an organized force. And the good thing is that, this organized force is has a very clear platform for the future. It's headed by a woman, Mrs. Mariam Rajavi, who has introduced a 10-point platform for the future of Iran based on ballot box as the only criteria for legitimacy, separation of religion and state, equality for men and women, free market economy, freedom of religion, and a non-nuclear republic form of government. That's the goal and the model for the Iranian people, that they know once they're fighting the Ayatollahs, they are looking to a future that is bright, that is built on sovereignty, that is built on the vote of the population, on representation, built for freedom. And I think that image of the future of Iran is driving everyone to, despite the hardship, to continue the fight. And we are confident that we will win.
How is she and that group different than the Shah's son, the prince? Explain sort of the different groups that are out there that could rise up.
Well, Mrs. Rajavi leads a coalition known as the National Council of Resistance of Iran, that the main organization within this council, which includes various political tendencies, and they are very secular, the council, and says, anyone who wants to see an end to the rule of the mullahs, want to see a republic form of government where the vote of people counts, and believes in separation of the state, those are the core foundations. And the main group within that movement has been the MEK that stood up against the Ayatollahs, and they are the ones who are acting as the engine for change. And the regime killed so many of them, but they continue to the fight and the struggle. Now, the other elements in the opposition are the ethnic groups like the Kurds, who are vehemently opposed to the Ayatollahs. They were badly repressed under the Shah, and so they don't like to see another form of dictatorship. A lot of other minorities but are also involved. Now, the son of the Shah that you mentioned, actually, that's the only way you can describe him, because that's the only credential he has. He's the son of a deposed dictator who was swept out of power, in 1979 by a very popular nationwide uprising of the people. Too bad the mullahs stole the leadership of that revolution and soon derailed the whole revolution that was meant for political pluralism and democracy and freedom, and they turned that into an Islamic extremist mentality. So the son of the Shah basically represents the past, and he has played no role whatsoever in the developments in Iran, built no organization, no entity, no platform, no track record, basically, spending the money that his family stole out of Iran, lavish life, spending time, in luxurious places. Actually, when the protest started on December 28th, 2 weeks ago, he was in Bahamas, and he wouldn't abandon his vacation until it finished. And then he shows up with suntan and talks about the protest, getting on television, trying to make himself relevant to these issues. This is treachery. This is not siding with the people of Iran. And that's what he does is actually an obstacle to the protests and the uprisings in Iran, because what the regime is trying to say is that, look, all the people of Iran support the Ayatollahs. Whatever is happening in Iran is just the foreign, instigated things, or people who want to go back to the dictatorship of the Shah. There's nothing genuine on the ground. That's the argument of the mullahs. And Reza Pahlavi actually, plays that role, because he keeps talking about how great he was under the Shah. All of the people around him are that. He pretty much considers himself as the heir to his father and his system, no matter what he claims. So he's jumping in only just reinforces the regime's argument that this is all about the past, whereas in reality, the people of Iran did not overthrow a dictatorship only to would not overthrow a dictatorship only to see the previous dictatorship, which they once overthrew, to come back. So that's why I think it's so important for people to understand that there are people who are trying to ride waves and take advantage of the situation for their own benefits, but there are others who have been paying the price, fighting the regime. We have a list of 20,000 members of the MEK movement that were killed by the regime with their pictures and the details. And this list was published in 2006, and so many others were killed ever since. This is the story of a movement that is truly fighting the mullahs. This is the movement that exposed all the major nuclear sites of Iran, exposed their terror network, their missile program, their drone program. This is the movement that is the number one target of the terrorism of the regime and the killings inside Iran, and has a very clear, well-defined a platform for the future. And they say very clearly, this is the kind of Iran we're looking for. This is the kind of Iran we are promoting for, based on pluralism and democracy and freedom. And they don't play games. They don't do vague things. And that's why I think it's so important that people realize that members of Congress, in a bipartisan way, supported this movement, both in the House and the Senate. Some 4,000 parliamentarians around the world have supported this movement. So many people, former world leaders, about 100 Nobel laureates have supported this movement because it's legitimate. It's representing the demands and the desires of the people of Iran.
And before I let you go, as you're talking about the Iranian regime, President Trump has been very clear on his support of these protesters, and even came out and he canceled conversations with Iranian officials. Apparently they were trying to make some back channel conversations of some sort, probably playing games. But it was a very powerful signal that President Trump publicly said, Alireza, no, we're not going to talk with them anymore. If they're going to be doing this to protesters, there will be no dialogue. How important is that to have a president with a hard line? And you compare it to what's happened in the past with Obama. When everything happened, pallets of cash came soon afterwards, and he turned a blind eye, many believe, to the protesters.
I think absolutely this is extremely important because, the mullahs have been used to being, appeased constantly, both by the Europeans or various administrations here in the United States, just as you said, getting pallets of cash, getting away with their terrorism, and all of that. When we first exposed the nuclear sites of Iran in 2002, Natanz and Iraq, and in 1 year we had several press conferences showing all the different aspects of the nuclear program of Iran, and you would think everyone would say this is great, that they need to be praised, but the administration was trying to rush to help the regime and appease them and cut a deal. Not only they didn't do anything to end the nuclear weapons program of the Iran regime, instead they shut down our office. So that's you can see the sharp difference between a policy that is based on confronting terrorism and a policy that tolerates terrorism, tolerates nuclear weapons program. So I think it's important messaging for the people of Iran to realize that they're killers. Those who are massacring people in the streets of Tehran are not being endorsed. To the contrary, they're being held accountable. We haven't seen that for a long, long time. And that's why I think, in reality, the real force for change at the end of the day are those on the ground in Iran, the people of Iran. And they are the ones who are going to bring down the Ayatollahs, especially we have a large country of 90 million population. And when they are encouraged, when they feel that they are being backed, they're being respected, and that their right to overthrow the regime is being recognized, that makes a huge difference. Because, Mrs. Rajabi has said repeatedly that we're not asking for foreign boots on the ground. We're not asking for foreign money or anything. All we're asking for is to recognize the right of our movement, our people, our resistance units to end the rule of the clerics, to fight the Ayatollahs and establish democracy in Iran. And that's why we're hoping to see also others to join in Europe and other places. And thank God the developments in the past few months has been very helpful, favorable, that the world is waking up, that there is a way to end the threat of the Ayatollahs. And at the end of the day, it's the overthrow of the mullahs by the people of Iran. And we're on the right track, and we need to do work to make sure that happens, to make sure that it's not derailed. These mullahs, as you said, they insinuated as though they're willing to sit down and talk, but these mullahs are so tricky. They are masters of deception. They know how to derail everything, and they know how to derail the protest, the uprising, and trap people. That's why it's so important for the United States and anyone who is a decision maker to understand that the clock in Iran is you're going to go move forward for freedom and democracy, not backwards. The dictatorship of the Shah.
Yeah, no doubt. It is just extraordinary to watch, and we are praying for all of those incredible protesters who are fighting for freedom, for Iran, for the world, really, in so many ways. Keep us posted, please, Alireza, and your wonderful group there led by Mrs. Marian Rajavi, and everything that you're doing just to defend freedom. It really is extraordinary and inspiring in so many ways. I think the world's inspired by everything that they're seeing. And everybody, be sure to subscribe and share to this podcast. Alireza Jafarzadeh, thank you so much for joining us, Alireza. And let's pray for peace. Let's pray there's good news soon.
Thank you so much, Rita. I really appreciate that. It's always a pleasure to be on your show. And thank you for the inspiration you bring, the information you provide for your listeners. I think it's so important for the American public to know the truth, to see all the realities firsthand. Appreciate that.
And everybody, I'll be back soon with another great edition of Protecting America. And of course, you can catch me every weeknight, 10 p.m. to midnight on the legendary WABC Radio. This is Rita Cosby, and thanks for all you do to protect America.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.